kind of shallow right now because there's a lot of big rocks in there still. Yeah. So, you know, it's tough. It's tough going
Like
with
after plowing, I know what I want to do.
thousands and hundreds years old.
Yeah.
One of the big rocks.
Not that much animals.
Spot.
Oh, we didn't check right there,
What are
yeah?
you gonna end up doing?
Where-
In there with that head.
Oh, look at the puppy. Look at the black puppy. See the black lab? Uh-huh. To work
Let's go over here where we didn't check.
and then he's going to be planting some apple trees. Yep. Last year when we were here, they have some baby Swiss over there also.
Holly, I think I should give this a
Eye
whirl.
candy.
You think you want to go to the gym tonight?
I'm not doing that. It's really hard.
No.
Am I gonna die?
No.
Yeah, we've seen the other one.
What I do? I drop it.
Yes, that's where they live. Yeah, yeah.
Counterintuitive. Go right to the left, left to the right. The tie here. So that off is the off is walking our furrow. And we want to fill that furrow in.
No matter what happens, don't let go, all right?
No, let go. Just be careful. Hit rock.
Yeah.
Her son is very
Leave it in front of you. They bounce it up.
getting his own too. Yeah, yeah.
So the soil coming off
Meetings, probably, and
you're going to be over here.
of little taps. When it's better to start with taps.
Boys, B is for bad, O is for ornery, and Y is why I'm going to get rid of calling you
Like
Bob.
to feed bottle feed them as calves, and then so they depend on you and you bond with them. So they respect you. And,
Oh, is that what that
they're
is?
your pets. It's like
How'd that work out for you?
yeah,
Ready?
yeah, and they challenge. They challenge. My husband wants
That's
to
right.
do that,
Oh, yeah.
all the time. So when I
Go team.
do anything with them, they don't listen to me.
Danny, come on. Easy. Easy. There's a girl back there. Easy.
There's something not good.
Easy.
What I tell them.
Whoa, whoa. You're looking good. You're looking good or you're good looking compared to him. However you want to put it, you're in there.
Don't make her laugh
Go
when
to the
she's
plow to
trying
the
to
right, to the
plow.
left.
Ready?
Just hang on, go for the right.
So there's a lot of rocks.
All right. Come on, guys. Easy. Man it.
That yolk is maybe 20,
Wow.
25. And you have to
Healthy looking. How
understand,
old are they?
they're 4.5 months old. So the yoke is built for their comfort by being wide, and actually being a little heavier is more comfortable for them because it distributes the weight. Like if you had a very narrow strap pulling a heavy load on your shoulder versus, something wide to distribute
Look
the
at
weight.
him. He's like loving me. Are you giving me love?
Hey, that costs extra. Tell them that. We charge for the love.
Look at he's like
She thinks we're
putting
cruel.
her head on me. No, I don't. I just thought it might be heavy on them.
No, but just
I never said
ask
that.
people to ask, not assume. So just anything you have questions. So they're being trained to work. You can tell they're in great
Oh,
shape.
can we take it home as a
We-
pet?
They
You
eat
want
a
to
lot.
take him home for a walk? No. Look,
How old
he
are these
doesn't
two?
want me to go.
They were born June 8th, so they're 4.5 months.
Oh, he just licked me.
The guys on the other side, which actually appreciate you just avoiding them, but they're 8 years old. But you can see how big the breed does get.
Were
So.
they the ones at Waters Farm last weekend?
Yeah, just don't.
Watch out for the chocolate on the ground.
Hi. They drive. Hello. Put one in the back. He's cute. He's cute.
Such a beautiful animal, huh, Layla?
He's sniffing my coat.
He's sniffing her coat. What do they eat?
So they eat grain and hay.
Yeah.
Grain is like a sweet pea. It's like corn and molasses and different pellets. It's a 23%, so it's a high protein diet.
The
They have
hay is right there.
as calves. We don't have a lot of grass at our house, so we have to buy. They eat hay. They eat grass when they have the availability.
What town are they from? Oh, okay.
They're local.
So if we put hay over here, would they eat it?
If you put hay over there,
Or are they eating the grass?
their preference is grass usually.
U-turn or?
So this is Haw towards you,
What way are we
flowering
going?
towards you. We'll go up that way. We'll just walk around a bit.
Hot togo. Hot togo.
There you go.
You tired?
She doesn't know where to look for. She's just like, what?
Right there.
Oh, the baby. Let's go see him. Right, because we were up late last night.
Yeah,
Did you get all my crazy stuff?
yeah, I was already in bed.
Every now and then I like just to get some of the arms off, quickly run a flat iron and do it. The older you get, the less you have to do. Just let it do its thing. I've been learning that. Keep it simple. Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you want to pick out a treat?
Wanna go check out the yard?
Yeah, I guess that's back there. You gotta
Yeah.
pulling.
Oh no, it goes on your
Yeah, let me run to the car and grab a
physical
food
and
bag.
its neck goes
Oh, here.
Yeah.
Come on. Look at Vaughn. Holy socks.
I did grab some.
Yeah. Have a bag. Have a bag. Oh, you want to
Fly a little, Ron.
Color coordinated.
I don't have purple.
barking, don't hear
I
it.
didn't know that we had to match our poop bags to our
We do.
dog costume.
Yes. Very important. Yes. Everything. Like
I ordered it from Guatemala. Taz has a matching vest.
Yeah.
Oh no, that one I
I
didn't.
had that one for years.
Oh, you know,
Why didn't you tell me when you got it? I told you.
you know what,
Rob,
honey?
she runs to the post office so
You
fast.
don't remember? I told you.
I'm going to tell you exactly how these came. Remember that weekend we were supposed to go to the beach and Miss Mama can't do so much. I figured if I wasn't going away, I could at least get the dog some outfits. Thank you.
Tell her what we did when we go to dog walking. So we do.
You probably would have been cheaper to go away from me.
Yeah, looks good. Look at those.
Big.
3 dog treats you already done.
Actually, those are the. Well, I sent you the picture of Buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what we were giving Buddy this morning. Were little dog treats.
Well, those
Yeah.
ones are for all dogs. They're like 5-calorie, just like
Yeah,
trick
well,
treat.
this is a woman that works up at the office in Smithfield.
Right up.
All right, I'm going now. Whichever way you want him to go, use your stick tap. Where are we going? Where you want? I'm following you.
Soy, Gianna's right over here. What's the matter? You fell down?
All right, I guess we'll get started. My name's Merlin, and we're going to give you some trivia questions.
I'm leaving.
How many have seen the movie Sleepy Hollow? The Headless Horseman. Hey, there we go. Is it true? How many would say yes, that it's true? Raise your hand. How many say that?
Partially true. Partially true.
All right. How many say that it's partially true? Okay. How many say that it's not true at all? That it's just a story? Now, can anybody tell me where the real Sleepy Hollow is at? Or did you know that it exists? No? Nobody?
New York State, yeah.
It's 2.5 hours from this farm. Just take 84 towards New York, and it's 30 miles south of New York City. There's a real Sleepy Hollow. It was a Dutch colony. All right. Now, the Hessman, is he true? Or was he made up?
True.
Anybody? Was he true?
True.
It is true. If you go to Sleepy Hollow, you can actually go to the Dutch church and see where he's buried. You can actually see his tombstone and the marker, which has his number on it. Now, how did he die? Anybody? What was he? Anybody? He was a soldier in the German army. He was a Hessian. And contrary to the movie, he wasn't slain with a sword. Any ideas how he passed away?
Hung?
Huh?
He was hung?
No.
Just an idea.
He lost his head from a cannonball.
Oh.
Now, as the story goes on, before he passed away, he had saved a little girl's life. And it was in a big battle. So he saved the little girl, and the townspeople remembered that. Then as the war started, he had gotten into a big firefight, as we would say, and he lost his head from a cannonball. Well, the townspeople went out and picked up his body, took it to the church, and they buried him out of kindness. Now, a few months later, it was reported that there was a headless horseman riding a horse through the village looking for his head. Unfortunately, there was nothing left of his head because it was completely disappeared. But you can go there. It's they have a castle there. They have a lot of shops. But you can go to the cemetery, and the church is still there where the headless horseman lies. So it's half true and half real. Now the writer of the story is buried beside the headless horseman. The people that were in the story are all buried in the same area. So it would be nice if you've got kids to take them there on a weekend or something. It's not that far of a ride.
I didn't know it was so close.
It's only 2.5 hours from here, that's all. It's true.
Busy around Halloween though, right?
They're busy. The best time to go is the first and second week of Halloween.
Really?
And they put shows on, and they have tours, they have some nice restaurants. They have only one hotel in this small village, but they have a lot of where you can stay with people in their homes, and it's pretty reasonable. And the food's very well. They also have a lot of little shops. So it would be an interesting tour, especially for the kids. but you'd actually be in Sleepy Hollow. And then you would go to the Dutch church where the cemetery still exists, and everybody's buried in that cemetery, which makes it very interesting because it's a half-true story and not. But the writer of the story is also buried there. And the family members remember at the beginning of the story when he went to the house and they were having a party, they're also buried there. So a lot of people thought, well, it wasn't really true. Until you look it up and you go, well, it really did exist. Any of the little ones in Sleepy Hollow? No? No. I don't think they've seen the movie. Now let's talk about magic. How many believe in magic? Okay. Me too. You have white magic, the way you use it. You have dark magic, the way you walk the line. Then you have black magic. Most witches do the white magic. They're healers and try to help people out. What would you consider dark magic falling under? Any ideas? Where would you use dark magic? A fight? Okay. When you say a fight, there was an incident in 1964 where a college girl was walking through a park and she got attacked by 6 gang members. She used dark magic against them. Any ideas of what she did?
Put a spell on it?
She summons a dragon. So after the incident was all over, the New York police showed up at the park and had all these deceased individuals laying in different groups. And they were all burnt to a crisp.
Oh my gosh.
But nobody had an answer for it. The police didn't have an answer. When they talked to the girl, she said that she was a homegrown witch and that she had cast a spell to bring a black dragon, and it did its bidding. So, is it true or false? It was true. The incident is still on file, and the case is still open to this day. Now, when would you use really black magic? Usually really black magic is used when you have a family member that was hurt very seriously and the court system and everything else failed. Then somebody would come to you and ask, can you perform something? I've had an incident, that's my wife standing over there, a week ago where an individual had something very terrible happen to her. And she went to see a witch. And the witch cast a spell. And after it was all over, out of the 6 individuals, only 1 was left. So we can imagine how powerful her magic was. The court system failed. Everything failed. That's the only reason she went to the witch. And she had something done. We won't get into what the witch did, but you know she accomplished what she did. Now, let's get into the whispering witches. There are only 20 of them in existence. You won't find any in this country. There are 5 in Russia. There's 5 of them in Poland. And there are about 10 of them left that are in the Baltic countries. All these witches are witches of blood. All these witches are in their 90s and 100s. They're not young witches. The church doesn't want to talk about these witches. The Vatican does not want to talk about these witches. And the Russian military does not want to talk about these witches. These witches are very, very powerful. They don't work on casting spells. They have some ancient books where if they say a word or a letter, something happens. Most witches will cast a spell. And it should be on partridge paper, not white line paper. You should try not to write it in English. It should be either in Latin or Hebrew. These witches don't even use that. All they do is say the word or say the letter and they can make something happen. Now the reason the church doesn't want to get involved is they have very strong healing powers. Some of their powers, from what people have said, they have cured people of cancer. So that makes them very powerful. That's why the church doesn't really want to get involved here. All right? The military does not want to get involved with them because they're afraid they might get cursed by them. And if they get cursed, then they're going to have issues. So they stay away also. They do not charge any money for their talents. They don't charge anything. You come to them and you ask them for help. And when they look into your eyes, they will decide whether they will help you or not. None of them speak English. You have to learn to speak Hebrew, Russian, Polish, and there's 2 other languages that are involved. But none of them speak English. Now, how did they learn all this? If you're a witch by book, it means you've studied the book from a young age here. And you worked your way through the books and the languages and the different theories. Then you want to be a witch of blood. Well, there is a spell. It's a very black magic spell that can change a witch of book to a witch of blood. But it will cost you. If the spell is performed, in that first year you have to be careful if you accept this spell. Because somebody's going to come calling for you. And if you don't have a loved one there, you're not going to make it. So there's a cost to it. Alright? Who has more power, do you think? A witch of book or a witch of blood? Yeah, why? Any ideas?
Because it's in their blood.
That's true. There you go. And it's passed down through the centuries. You have, going back 200, 300, 400 years, you learn different things. A lot of those books have been destroyed. There was a book, and in the 16th century it was put on trial. The book was so bad of dark magic that the Vatican didn't want this book to be let out. So they put the book on trial. They actually held the trial. The book was found guilty, and it was destroyed. But the writer was smart. He made a copy. And in that copy of the book are the 13 mysteries. One of them they call is the bottle of life. And that spell actually will bring somebody back to life from death. It will also cure cancer, but it's very costly. It has other spells in there about the creation of life, who God was, and what his real name is. Everybody knows the name of God, right? Well, what's his real name? His Anybody know?
It's
No?
like, it's right there, but
She can't remember.
I know it.
There are 72 names for him.
Oh, okay.
So, if I was gonna make a, what do we call it? Beginning with G, a goblin, I would have to know the 72 mystical names for God. You use the 72 letters, and you can actually create a human being, but it won't have a soul. Now, was this ever done? Yes, it was done. During the Second World War, there was a group of Israelites that were living up in the mountains, and when the Germans came, they started killing them. So the rabbi sat down with another rabbi and they created a golem. They turned the golem loose, and he killed about 200 Germans. Then they took the golem into the church and they put him in a wall. The Germans came back again and the golem was turned loose and they killed quite a few more Germans. Well, the rabbi didn't want to take any chances, so what he said was, we're going to have to move. So the rabbi got the townspeople to move and they left, but they took the golem and they sealed him in the wall in the church. The Germans found out and they tried tearing the church down to get the golem to use as a weapon. But the rabbi was pretty smart because he told a fib. It wasn't in the church. It was hidden in a cave in a mountain where it still is to this day because no one knows where the cave's at. The golems are very dangerous because you can't control them. They have no soul. The second thing is they can become invisible. So when you turn one loose, you don't know where it's going to go or what it's going to do. Now the whispering witches, they have said that they have created 3 of them, but no one knows where they're at or why they created 3 of them. It would be very risky to even create one and turn it loose on the human population. No one's ever heard of the Whispering Witches. If you go on the internet and look it up, you'll find more stories about them. They're very interesting. But like I said, the church is very concerned about them because it goes everything to the belief of the church, especially the Vatican. The Vatican gets very upset when they hear the word witches. That is why that if you go to England and you go to the museum, the British Museum, they have one of the Rings of Solomon. And a Witcher book was there. And in the Ring of Solomon is a triangle. She performed a small right prayer and she made the triangle turn inside the ring. Well, when the Vatican heard about this, the Vatican got very upset. So what they tried to do is confiscate the ring, but they couldn't do it. So they blocked the ring up so nobody can get near it again. They're concerned that if she could do that, if she got her hands on the ring, she could do a lot more with that ring. Well, it turns out that she was being trained by one of the Whispering Witches. So she had a gift. It was heard that she only spoke 3 words and spoke 4 letters. And the triangle and the ring turned. So that shows you how much of a gift that she has, or understanding about it. Oh yeah, they can if they want. Yeah, give it to him. Yeah, you give him those. Yeah, they're just 8 pence. You can have some fun with them. Has it? Well, I only got 2 witches that have spoke up. Are there any other witches in here?
I'm rich, but I don't have a costume on.
I got 3, maybe 4, a little one. Have you ever noticed anything going on in your homes?
Oh yeah, sometimes.
What have you noticed going on? Especially around Halloween.
Well, I definitely have a lot of spirit visitors at this time, and I welcome them because I work a lot with my ancestors, so this is a time when I really try to connect with them. So I've definitely had a lot of activity with that going on. I've also had things, I have a house spirit that sometimes will be mischievous and hide things on me and stuff if I don't. I have a little, kind of like a shrine, a little house and stuff that I made up. And if I don't, remember to feed them and whatnot, then they can get a little mischievous. Nothing malicious, but can't find something you're looking for or whatever. And
My problem is when I go to the cemeteries to visit my relatives, I see the dead a lot. And in my house, my wife can speak to this because she gets upset, things move. She'll put something someplace and it ain't there, and then I'll find it someplace later. So I said, don't panic. They're just busy.
Yep.
And around Halloween, they're even busier.
Extra busy.
Yes. But that's a good sign for you. You got to stay in contact with the spirits because things are going to be happening in the next few years that we're going to need a lot of help.
Hello, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you for coming to our Halloween happening. Anyone with dogs that would like to enter in the dog parade, we're going to have you start to line up in front of Dog Orphan. And we're going to have you walk around in a circle. There will be prizes awarded for best costume. So, line up. So, everybody in the contest, we could have you walk whichever way this is, counterclockwise. We'll be giving prizes out for most original, the scariest, and then there'll be a farmer's choice. As you walk around, so everybody in your costume. Yeah, he lost his leg.
Tinkerbell, the one with the big jaws.
How about one more round? One more round.
Spaghetti.
I don't know. There's so many. They're all great. He's tangled. He's tangled.
What are you doing? He's trying to get his pants off.
Okay, so is everybody ready to hear the winners? First of all, WTF thanks everybody coming out for our Halloween happening. We had a great turnout today with all these cute little dogs dressed up in their Halloween costumes, along with some children that I see that are ready to go trick-or-treating after we make the announcement for the winners. First of all, I would like to introduce the judges. So first we have Angelica here from Best Boy Bandanas. And then we have Jen from Sweet Little Cookie Company. And then it will be Farmer's Choice, which would be... Yeah, sure, why not? Oh my God. Is that all right?
He's right front.
Girl down. Okay.
You can't see it. You're gone. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. Don't worry. I'm not going to look
we're going to reconvene.
I know.
Okay, so we're going to announce the winners for the most original costume would be our spaghetti and meatballs. For the scariest costume, we have our dinosaur. Black Lab here. Now we did just add the cutest costume category for the latest entry, which would be our little good guy over here. And then Farmer's Choice, for the love of the season and the witchcraft, we have our little purple witch here is Farmer's Choice. And everybody's winners, and thank you all for coming out. And the prizes will be given by Dog Orphans, which we thank Dog Orphans for coming to this event. And then so Dog Orphans, thank you. Okay, and now for any of the children who would like, or adults that want to go trick-or-treating, they can meet me on the porch of the store and I'll give you little bags to trick-or-treat. There'll be 6 spots around the farm for trick-or-treating. You'll see the scary monsters. Have fun. Come home.